So Word Project 3, you notice we have two files. Start file is always the file that you're going to edit per your set of instructions. If you have resources, that means that possibly, in particular this project, we're going to import something. So it probably for this particular project is probably a picture image that we're going to insert in our document. So how do we handle this? Well, as always, we just click on the start file and it's automatically going to populate down below. And then when you click on it, you can go ahead, and I always recommend to do your file save as and give it a location. You can just take it wherever you like, or if you want to just take it directly back to your downloads folder, and then I would rename it. And that way you understand this is the one that you're going to be editing, which I've already done. So let me cancel that out. Now, when it comes to your resources, when you click on that, it's automatically going to go to your downloads folder. So I'm going to go over to that and I'm going to click on downloads, and you can see here it is. This is the resources, and we know because the last word in this folder name is resources. And also, you can kind of see there's a zipper on this folder. That means we need to extract it. For those who understand that, go ahead and use the command to extract all files. But what I recommend, this is what I do. I double click on the yellow folder and it'll bring me in, and I want to double click on that yellow folder again. And here you go. As I was mentioning, it's probably a picture image. So I'm going to click on it once to highlight it. And then over top of the highlight with my right mouse click, I'm going to access my shortcut menu. And I'm going to cut it. And then wherever you would like to take it, I'm just going to click on downloads. And then once that's highlighted, I'm going to go over here on top of the highlight and right click again. And I'm going to select paste. And you can see here it is. It's pasted outside of this folder. So now it's been extracted. I find that's the easiest way. Now it's sitting there for when we need it. Now going back to the project and our set of instructions, I'm going to select Windows because I'm working on a Windows operating system. I'm not using a Mac. And I'm going to go down, and the first thing we're going to do is start working on inserting some word art. But actually what we're going to do, since the typing's already there, we're just going to highlight that and we're going to convert it. So going over to my document, and I'm going to close out the start file. I want this one. Now that it's highlighted, I'm going to click on my insert tab. And then if there's any of these commands that you're not familiar with what they are, if you just pause for a second, it will give you a screen tip and a name of that command. And for some reason I can't get mine, but it'll come up. But I know this is word art. And the word art they want us to select is this third option. So you can see it automatically changes the appearance of the word art. Now, once you have this in word art mode, you can see there's a frame around it. So it's telling the system any changes we make will occur within this frame. If I click off of it, it's deactivated. And you'll notice that far right-hand side, that menu option went away. But if I click on it again, then here's the additional commands, and I call it the bells and whistles, how to change the appearance of your smart art. So let's go back and look at your set of instructions. So now that we have it, we selected and we clicked on the word art and we selected that option. Now it wants us to change the shape of it. So we're going to change the width. So we know it's activated. We're on the correct menu tab, which is a shape format, and we're going to go over here to the size. And then you can either use the spin handles, or myself, I just prefer to type right over top, and it's 6.5. And I always press enter to get it to accept the change, but for some reason it didn't. Let me try it again. 6.5. 6.6, there it is, 6.5. So now it's been updated with the change. Now the next thing it wants us to do is it's asking us to open the position, this layout dialog box, and you can see here's a preview of it. And it explains to you how to get to that. So I know that if I go to my position button and I go down to this last command, which is my more layout options, it will open up that dialog box. And once we're there, it's asking us, typically in the real world, you probably use a click and drag approach with positioning your mouse pointer on this frame. And I'll explain that in a second to get it lined up and you'll visually look at it. But there's another way of positioning it. So they're going to ask you to turn on your alignment, make sure it's centered to your margin. And then they're going to ask you to go down vertically and turn on the absolute position, and you want it point to and below the page. and then you select OK, and it's going to reposition it. But in the real world, if you see your mouse pointer will change to this cross, that gives you the ability to move the image, or anytime you're over top of these bubbles, that'll give you an option to resize it. Next, we're going to go ahead and apply a text effect to it. And again, these I consider the bells and whistles just to change the appearance. And when you do this, here's a little preview of what it should look like down below here in this image. So again, I just always say, we know if we're dealing with our text, just pause and just try to find, you can see that's text outline. Here's your text effect. So it's asking you to go to reflections. Once you're in reflections, I want you to go down in this option, and we're going to click on the first option. You can see where it has this effect as if you were looking into a lake and you could see the clouds reflecting off the water. Whenever you're reading these set of instructions and they have an alternate, that just means when you're trying to follow these set of instructions and it's not working for you based on your version that you're working on Microsoft, just go down and try the alternate route and see if that works for you. It doesn't mean do both of these. It just means use this set of instructions. If that fails, go to the second set of instructions. All right, now we're going to start working with text that's already being pre-typed, and we're going to, convert it into a table. So for this next step, it's asking us to select the tabbed and also the blank. We have to turn on a show hide button. When you turn that on, you can see, again, as I mentioned previously, these arrows mean that the tab mark has been pressed. So they're asking for us to select all that, including that last paragraph, per our set of instructions when you're reading through here on 4A. It's saying including the last paragraph. Once we do that, we're clicking on the Insert tab, then we're going to select the table, and we're going to open up the drop-down menu, and we're going to go down to this command option, which is Convert the Text to Table. And once this is open, we're going to select this option to auto-fit the contents, and you'll notice what it does. When you select OK, you can see it's, and let me turn this off because it does get a little confusing once you keep that show hide button on. So it's auto-fitting to the text. Even there's a lot of white space here after the numbers, it needed that amount of space because of the title needed that amount of space within that particular column. So you can see now we have 3 columns and there's multiple rows for our data. Now I clicked outside the table is now deactivated, but if I go back inside the table, you notice there's 2 now ribbons that are available for options to make changes to your table, which we're going to go ahead and do. Now the next set of instructions wants us to click on this table, the table design, and it's asking to turn on this header row and embedded rows, which is already on, but it wants us to deselect anything else, which this option, I'll turn that off, which is the first column. And again, it's just designing your table. And in the real world, you're just going to visually do that. You're just going to turn options on and off to see what you like. Now, when you're back here in number G and it's asking you to click on the More button, the More button is when you're going to your table styles. That would be this bottom arrow, and you can see there's a screen tip. When you click on it, it will open up your entire gallery. Now, this gallery, when you're scrolling down, you have the grid tables, and you can see there's different styles, list tables, so there's different categories when you're reading through your set of instructions. And when you go to select this grid table for Accent 2, you can see over here, they're giving you a preview to help you understand which one. And as you notice with this mouse pointer, it pauses for a second and it gives you the exact name that you're hovered over. So you're sure that you're selecting the correct style. And when you open this up, your More button, and if you go down to your 4th row, your 3rd option over, you'll see that that's the grid table for Accent 2 that you're going to apply. So that's formatted style to apply to your table. Now, when you're looking at your table and it's asking you to edit, just know that when you're looking at something in the up and down direction, that would be your column. If you're looking at it across, that would be a row. And it's asking you to go over here to the 2nd column. In the 1st row, we're going to backspace, and then we're going to press enter. And you're going to repeat that over here in the 3rd column. In 5A, when it's asking you use the table selector handle to select the entire table, what they're doing is talking about up here at the upper left-hand corner. If you click on that, that'll select the entire table. Because you have the ability where you can highlight rows or multiple rows at a time, or you can highlight just a particular column, but if you use this handle, it will highlight your entire table. Now we're going to move over to the layout button, and they want us to go to the alignment group, and then when you pause over top of these buttons, you'll get the actual name, and they want us to align center. So you can see that centering within those particular columns. And again, your instructions here is giving you a preview to what that would look like once you get over to that ribbon. So looking at your set of instructions, it told us how to align the text within our cells, and that's what we call them. These blocks are called cells. But now we're going to position it and center it within our piece of paper. So you need to go over here to the Stone Layout tab. We're going to go over to Properties. Make sure you're on the Table tab, and then the alignment of it, we're going to select Center. And if you select OK, you can see how it centers it based on the margins that were set up for this document. And again, these alternate are if the first set of instructions do not work, go to your alternate. But now they want us to adjust the cell margins. And when we do that, we're going to change the top and bottom and the left and right. So now we're going to go to the opposite side of the ribbon. Here's our cell margins. Once it's open, we're going to go ahead and look at our set of instructions. And the top and bottom is going to be set to 0.3 and the left and right 0.1. So I just type those in and then I select OK. Oh, hang on, I have something incorrect. Oh, I'm sorry. Up here, I accidentally typed a comma. So just be careful with that since, sometimes it might be hard to see. And my apologies. The top and bottom should be 0.03. So I made that correction and then I select OK and it looks better. It looked off, so I knew I did something incorrectly. Now we're going to insert some Smart Art graphics, and basically these are just an option, several different type of diagrams that you can insert into your document. So it's asking us to place the insertion at the end of the second body paragraph example in the first section. So that means just going directly over here, and they're talking about this one here. So this would be the first body because these are just titles. So that would be right here. So they want us positioned there, and we're just going to go directly to insert, and you click on the word Smart Art, and then it's going to tell you what category, and then once you're in the category, it's going to tell you what option to select. So let's take a look at that. And again, they give you a preview. You're going to click on Process, and then you're going to click on this option here, and it will be the continuous block process. When you highlight that, if we go over here, you'll see that when we click on Process and the continuous, you can see it does give you a preview and it gives you a description of it. But in the real world, you're just going to visually align it and see what of these categories works best for you. And we select OK. Now you can type the text here, or you can close that pane, or you can click and type right over top of this. Now when you type in your text, it will automatically resize your text as you're typing. So let's see what they want us to do next. One thing I do want to mention is you notice it automatically will highlight this one particular item. It's always best to click right here on this outer frame. So that way when you make an update, every image within the frame will update. And as you're working on this, you'll notice at the end of your set of instructions, they have a preview and you can see that how you're going to type inside that. But you can also, when you're reading through your set of instructions, it'll tell you specifically as to what to type out in your Smart Art. And again, as I said, all you have to do is just click in and out with your mouse pointer. And as you're typing in, it will automatically resize itself. When you're done typing the last one, I would just click on that outer frame again. So again, as we're making changes, it will update everything inside the frame. Now to continue making edits to the Smart Art, I'm going to go ahead. I'm almost done with my 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video and I'll pick up on part 2 with number 7.